But we can kick off for everyone who's on the call here. Appreciate you taking the time to join us today for our session on how to position your brand to be the first, the best, or the only. My name is Corey Rettercup. I'm the Director of Policy and Stakeholder Relations here at the Burnaby Board of Trade. Before we start, I do want to recognize that where I am here in our Metrotown offices, we're on the traditional territory of the Hunkaminam and Squamish-speaking peoples, and to extend appreciation for the opportunity to hold this meeting and to do all of our work on this territory. In today's event, co-founder and CEO of Leap Zone Strategies, Isabel, who you'll see on the screen here, will be sharing how to position your brand, as I said, to be the first, the best, or the only, so that you can thrive in any economy, so that you're resilient and not responding to the next thing that comes down the pike, but that you're able to thrive no matter what comes at you. Today's session, we're going to be talking about a smart and motivating way to learn the key fundamentals needed to get crystal clear about what your brand stands for, what problems you solve, and more importantly, what makes you stand out as that first, that best, or that only in your own market segment. Before we get started, I did want to mention and thank a list of, and they'll be coming up on the screen, I think, in a second here, a list of organizations that really go above and beyond throughout the year. They're kind of top corporate citizens in Burnaby and really support our work and all the stuff that we do. You should be able to see their logos on the screen there. Perfect, there we go. And you can see our platinum partners, the Burnaby Now and the BCIT School of Business and Media. You can see our silver or our gold partners, Fortis BC, Pacific Blue Cross, SFU, Electronic Arts, ABC Recycling, and Douglas College, and our silver partners, Alexander College, Trans Mountain, Appia, the Port of Vancouver, Scotiabank, and TD. We have a lot of great corporate citizens in Burnaby, my goodness, but they really do a lot for us throughout the year, and I really want to thank them and make special notice of them as our annual board partners. So there's going to be, if you have questions, a Q&A, as I mentioned, at the bottom of your screens. We'll have a few minutes at the end for some of those interactions. But I'm pleased to get underway with today's session. As part of our programming for Small Business Week. This is Small Business Week today. We've had sessions all week on topics and tactics for small business. So today's one I'm really looking forward to. We've had Isabel join us a couple of times, and it's always energetic and reinvigorating. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure everyone who is watching live or will be watching the recording will be pumped by what we're about to go through here. And then we'll be wrapping up Small Business Week tomorrow with our NRG breakfast. So keep an eye out for that if you feel like starting your Friday morning at 8:30 with yours truly. Trust me, you will not regret it, and you'll have a great time connecting with dozens of other business professionals. So Small Business Week is an important thing for the Chamber, and we're thrilled to have today's session as part of our programming. So I'm pleased to be joined by Isabel Mercier-Turcotte, brand strategist and business performance catalyst, and the co-founder and CEO of Leap Zone Strategies, and she's the host of LeapTV.com. Isabel is one of the most inspirational branding, marketing, and customer experience speakers. She's a no-nonsense dynamo. You'll get a sense of why we say that as we go through here. This will be a really exciting and energetic session. And she's born to catapult passionate entrepreneurs and thought leaders to build businesses and brands designed to make life better. We're lucky Isabel is one of North America's top business influencers. She's a best-selling author, a two-time TEDx speaker, a TV show host, have over 3 million views on her speaking. Isabel brings 25 years of branding, marketing, and customer experience expertise to bear when she's speaking. So we're lucky to have her here today. And she has helped thousands of business owners and thought leaders, as well as some influential and iconic brands like A&W, Roby's Footwear, Earls, IMAX, HSBC Investments. And she, as I said, she's spoken a few times at the Board of Trade. I know she's helped a number of our businesses think and position themselves properly. So Isabel teaches how to grow businesses and brands that are designed to thrive in any economy by becoming and remaining their first, their best, or their only. So Isabel, thank you so much. Great to see you again, and I'll turn it over to you.
Great to see you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and for making me a part of this awesome Small Business Week. I'm thrilled to be here today to talk about one of the subjects that is really near and dear to my heart. It is about positioning and why positioning is so vital for your growth. So vital for your growth. I'm just going to start sharing my screen here. And I want to start by saying something that's, let me put it this way. Without solid positioning, the road to growth is much slower than you would want, much harder than you would want. And the truth is, very few business owners have a real compelling brand foundation and positioning. Yet, everybody thinks they do. Everybody thinks they do. And that is very costly. And what I mean by very few is I literally mean 1 out of 100. About 1 out of 100 has clear brand foundation, which I'll explain what that means in a moment, and clear positioning. And that drives me crazy because too much money is left on the table, too much talent is left non-utilized, and too many people are left with unsolved problems. And too many companies are struggling to attract and retain ideal clients, but also ideal talent for their business. And that can be rectified. It totally can be rectified. In fact, a client of ours left literally millions of dollars on the table for years by not having a compelling positioning and by being a little jaded about branding and positioning, actually losing top quality projects and talent for no apparent reason. Well, let me tell you that when there's no apparent good reason, it's usually a positioning issue. So, what makes you the first, the best, or the only? What makes you so different that prospects are compelled to choose your brand over anyone else? Right? What makes you so different that ideal employees are compelled to choose you over any other employers? The answer to those three simple yet foundational questions are vital and can be the difference between inching through growth, right? Inching or catapulting growth. And I'd prefer if everybody experienced catapulting growth. Positioning can make or break your brand and your business. And positioning will either make you money or lose you money, period. In my opinion, positioning is as important to the health of a business as a heartbeat is to a body, right? Without a heartbeat, you can't exist. Well, without positioning, you're not known, seen, or resonated with. And this is true whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're at the head of a Fortune 500 company. It's true for everybody. And unfortunately, most people don't know how to leverage positioning themselves, their team, and their business, and most importantly, so that they can position themselves to make life better and solve problems for their ideal clients. Without strong brand positioning, the only option you have left is to compete on price. And that is a guaranteed race to the bottom unless your price, right, your lowest price guarantee is your positioning. Costco has that type of positioning. Walmart has that type of positioning as well. See, before FedEx, there was no overnight delivery. Jake Burton basically created the sport of snowboarding. Before Domino's, there was no market for home delivered pizza. Before Apple, a cell phone was just that, a cell phone. Today, you can run entire businesses and empires on your cell phone or your iWatch for that matter. PayPal created the online payment category. Wow One Day Painting paints your entire house within 24 hours. And Zappos, if you know Zappos, they made customer service and employee retention sexy again. Right? These are all brands that position themselves as the first. And since the pandemic, 60% of consumers have tried a business for the first time. That's huge. That's massive change. 89% of them plan to stay with that new option. That's good news for many people and not so good news for other people. And unfortunately, only 3% of employees really understand that their company's brand positioning. And that's, as I said earlier, very costly, not to mention huge missed opportunities here for growth. And of course, I'm not going to lie, this pandemic has affected a lot of people and businesses negatively. But I believe that it's also the single greatest opportunity you'll ever have to grow and scale your business, assuming that you do the work that's required to clearly position your brand and your team as the first, the best, or the only. And truly, gone are the days where just great counting on awesome word of mouth is enough. Word of mouth is important, and social media today actually can count as word of mouth. But gone are the days where just being great and word of mouth are just enough. Your brand has to make life better for your team, for your suppliers, for your prospects, and your clients. Your brand has to be positioned as the first, the best, or the only. to more effortlessly attract your ideal clients and ideal talent. A little tiny bit about me. I'm known as the Simon Cowell of branding and positioning and business growth. And if you know Simon Cowell, you know that some people, he's a judge on American Idol, and some people would not take this as a compliment, but I do. I take this as a compliment because this guy sure knows how to spot and position and catapult talent forward. I'm just a little tiny bit more fashionable than he is. And in the past 25 years, let me tell you, I have been through my fair share of crippling economic downturns, right? And that's required me to reinvent and reposition and to always be and stay the first, the best, or the only. And in my almost 30-year career, right now I'm dating myself like crazy, but in my 30-year career, I've done that successfully with hundreds of entrepreneurs through and thought leaders around the world, right? By helping them and their team understand positioning, understand what that means, and understand the ingredients so that their services and products are promoted with influence and impact. Positioning, as I said earlier, will make or break your business. So what I want to talk on the agenda today, we're gonna debunk some branding myths together that are slowing down your growth. I'm going to share with you 4 vital positioning ingredients. There are 10, and I have time to share about 4 today to position you, right, as the first, the best, or the only. And I'm going to share with you a brand positioning success formula that's going to dramatically increase the value, the leadership, and the influence that you provide. And you'll walk away with understanding what it takes to truly differentiate yourself, to elevate the value and impact of your brand, and of course, to help you create a more loyal culture, a culture for your team members, but also for your loyal fans, right? Your prospects and suppliers. I also want to give you an opportunity to connect with me for a few additional free resources, because at the end of the day, only knowing what I'm about to share here goes only 1 inch. You got to actually implement. And we've got lots of tools and tutorials at LeapZone to help you implement this. Because what I'm sharing today is simple, foundational, and certainly not always easy to implement on your own. And I really want our time together to be massively valuable and practical for you, whether you're here live today or you're watching after. So I want you to write your questions down as I share the information so that I can answer them in the Q&A portion at the end. Or you can connect with me if you're watching the recording. You can connect with us with your additional questions. The key today is to listen with new ears, because you have an opportunity here to turn common sense into common practice for you and also for your team. I would be a fool to do business with anyone else but you, regardless of price. I don't know about you, but I want to hear that in my business day in and day out, and I'm sure you do as well. And that's exactly what my team and I help our clients achieve. And let me tell you, it takes a hell of a lot more than talent, a good idea, and a cool website to create that kind of positioning. It takes the right 3 differentiating pillars, constantly elevated and course corrected to create that kind of results. And the pillars are positioning, personality, and performance. The 3 most important pillars for creating a brand that's positioned and engineered to thrive in any economy, right? Meaning regardless of what's happening in the world. Positioning, what do you want to be known for? What is the new normal that you want to create? How are you claiming a position or a reputation in the market for your company, for your product, for your service? In which ways is your company's offering different from your competitors? Basically, to repeat again, the first, best, and only, how are you being the first, best, or only? In other words, why should someone choose you instead of your main competitor or anyone else for that matter, regardless of price? When I was a kid, my parents had me position anything. I had to position absolutely everything. I had to position idea, something I wanted to do, something I didn't want to do anymore. I had to talk to them about what is the cost, what is the risk of saying yes for them, what is the cost for them in saying no, what are the trade-offs. I hated them for it. I really did. And today I am bloody happy Thank you, parents, for making my youth miserable so I can actually make life better for many, many people nowadays. Personality is the pillar around what does your brand stand for, right? What are you willing or not willing to do to deliver your genius? How do you and your business make life better? And performance is all around what are your clear aspirations? What are your goals? What are your objectives? And is your entire team on that same train with you, right? Are you guys on the same page with this? And most importantly, what needs to be eliminated? What needs to be automated and innovated to help you take your business and your brand in operating well, like a well-oiled machine, so that you can grow. And of course, after growth comes scaling, right? You can't scale if you can't grow. You have to grow first and then scale. Because inside of structure, I always say, are you systematizing the predictable so that you can maximize the exceptional? That's all part of the performance and coaching part. Because inside of structure lives consistency, scalability, and freedom. And within these 3 pillars, there are 8 key areas for growth. Positioning and culture, vision and strategy, technology, mindset and organization. The poster right behind me is mindset is everything. Yes, absolutely. Mindset is everything. And right now, what I want to do is I want to focus on brand positioning and culture, starting with a little rant about what branding is not. Because a lot of people think that they know what branding is when they actually don't. So let's get clear on this. To be clear, branding is not a logo. Is a logo important to a brand? Hell yes. Without a logo, there would be no visual trigger for people to recognize you and go, oh, I love this brand, or no, I don't like this brand. Years ago, when I first moved to BC, I went for breakfast at Denny's. And as a result of my one bite to my tuna melt, I got a 9-day food poisoning. It came out of everywhere. Let me tell you. Denny's could gold plate their logo for all I care. When I see their logo, I don't feel so good. Now, does it mean they don't have good food? No, this was a total fluke. But just to prove that a logo is a visual trigger to remind people if they love you or hate you or are in the gray zone. And by the way, the gray zone is super costly in marketing and branding. So branding is not a logo. Branding is also not a website. Is a website important to a brand? Hell yes. If you didn't, a website is actually your best should be, because it's not always, but it should be your best spokesperson 24/7, answering questions while you sleep, and answering questions and helping people make a decision about you, or many decisions about you, without you being there. But branding is not a website. Branding is not a product or a service either. Is a product or a service important to a brand? Of course, without that, you wouldn't have a brand. But a logo, a website, and a product, if that's not a brand, what is a brand? A brand truly is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? It's how people feel when they buy your product or service. It's how people feel when they interact with your team. It's how people feel when they're at the receiving end of your team and of what you deliver. Brands are defined by people and emotions, not companies or markets. I went to another restaurant during the pandemic, Ricky's restaurant, and we spent quite a bit of time, my partner and I. We're known to have lunch and dinner in a restaurant because we have long meetings. And we kept eating all afternoon, and at some point someone came and told us, hey ladies, you've been here for a while, we're about to have a dinner rush, you might want to settle your bill. And I was like, wow, what a way of getting rid of me when I'm actually still buying. There's many ways that this person could have actually connected with me. They could have come and said, and by the way, I asked to speak to the manager, and that was the owner, unbelievably to me. But anyways, had the owner come and said, hey ladies, you guys have been here for a while. Do you have everything you need? Are you going to join us for dinner? I see your meeting is a little long. Are you going to join us for dinner? We're about to get a big rush here and just want to make sure that you're well taken care of. We would have stayed for dinner and they would not have lost us as a client, right? So brands are defined by people and emotions, not companies or markets anymore. In other words, it's not what you say it is what they feel it is. And perception is reality in many things in life, including branding and marketing. And the key is to align what is with what is being perceived or experienced. When that aligns, you've got magic. And the bigger the brand, the more effort it takes to keep perception aligned with reality for you, your team, your culture, and your customer service. Positioning is the place you want to own in your ideal clients and ideal employees' minds, right? It's exploring, identifying, and refining what makes your brand, your business, your service, your products, the best choice for your ideal clients and employees. It's about confidently owning. It's not just knowing it. You got to own it. You got to own what makes you different and compelling. And most entrepreneurs are unclear about what makes them unique and compelling, let alone owning it, right? It's also about understanding the number one problem you solve, and then the next 3 to 5 secondary problems that you help your customers solve. And then the benefit extensions that your business brings to the table, the ripple effect that it provides for your clients and your team. It's also knowing and owning how you, your business, and your brand make life better. It's about being clear about who you're best suited to serve and who is best suited to serve you. Positioning is DT equals R plus D. Desire and trust equals reliability plus delight, right? It's all about building desire and trust by meeting and exceeding expectations, customers' expectations, employees' expectations, employers' expectations. And most people forget how powerful delight is. Delight makes people care more. Delight increases people's level of happiness. Delight makes people happy to stay and happy to talk about you. That's uber important. So to be clear, branding is how people feel about your brand. Positioning is why they should choose you over anyone else, regardless of price or regardless of circumstances. And marketing is the actions you take to let people know that you're the best solution or opportunity for them. And social media is one branch, one category of marketing actions in order to spread the word. Branding is what is the word? Positioning is why is this word important? And marketing is actions to spread the word. So now that we've got that clear, because this is super important and your whole company should be aware of the differences of that, super important. So now what I want to do, I want to share with you the first brand positioning ingredient, which is your mission. And I don't want you to go to what you already know about mission. I'm not talking about a mission statement here that is super boring and lengthy and nobody knows. And they go, when we interview employees in a company, we go, what is the mission of the organization? And they go, I don't know, it's somewhere on the website. I'm not talking about that kind of mission. That kind of mission is a swear word at LeapZone. The F word isn't though, so be warned. So what I'm talking about here is 1 or 2 words that are energetically connecting everybody in your organization so that they can live by that to create impact and influence. The problem is most people have boring mission statements, blah, 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 stakeholder this, stakeholder that, blah, blah. The result though, when you know how you want to leave people feeling, and when you align everyone in your organization and everything you do to deliver that, magic happens. Because, and I'll give you a good example of that, but I want to say first that people don't buy or resonate with what you offer and what you do. They buy and resonate with why you do it, with why you do it. They buy a feeling, a solution, and a sense of belonging. So there's an insurance company in the UK, insurance, remember that. Insurance usually, when disaster strikes in your home and in your company, their kind of job is to find loopholes to give you back the least amount of money possible. Not them. They actually want to leave people feeling wowed and delighted. And what they do is when you experience disaster, they actually send you on your ideal vacation while they fix the disaster. Right? And that is a completely different way of operating. And you don't operate that way with a boring, lengthy, blah, blah, blah mission statement. You operate that way by having one or two words that just really connects everybody with the mission, being on a mission rather than having a mission. At Leap Zone, we want to leave people feeling on fire and unstoppable. And as you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about that. So we work at being and delivering that as a team daily. We talk about it all the time, not just once in a while in a quarterly session. No, every day before every meeting, including this one. So the key is to have everyone on your team not only in alignment with your internal mission, but living it daily, talking about it all the time, making decisions from it daily. So my question to you is, do you and your team know how you want to leave people feeling? So as I'm sharing the information, don't forget, write some of your questions down so that we can see them towards the end, and because I'd love to answer them, and so that I can provide more value here live with you. The second brand positioning ingredient is your measurable accountability, your promise, your brand promise, which is your measurable accountability. A measurable accountability or a brand promise is what bridges your genius with the needs and desires of your ideal clients or employees, right? It's what you deliver internally with your team and externally with your clients without fail, come rain or shine. The problem is most companies don't have a brand promise. And by the way, quality is not a brand promise. Quality is an expectation today in business. And when you don't have a strong brand promise, you're leaving a lot of money on the table because you're not communicating what's in it for your clients and prospects in a way that gets them to say, geez, where the hell have you been all my life? There's a company in Vancouver called Provident Security, not insurance company, but security company. Mike Jagger is the owner. And Mike, has a business in the security world. When your alarm rings because there's something terrible that just happened, police response time is 2 to 2.5 hours. Pretty dangerous if there's a burglar in your house. And you're the very security company that you're paying for, the little keypad in your house, they're going to call within a few minutes, but their response time physically on your premises is between half an hour and an hour and a half. Again, a lot can happen in an hour and a half or half an hour. He saw an opportunity to promise something that nobody else was promising. His promise at Provident Security is a 5-minute physical response time. There will be someone at the door within 5 minutes. Do you think that was easy to produce, easy to do? No, they had to invent technology for that. They had to create new processes and systems to make that happen. But today, as a result of having people expecting this, but being delivered very little, and in him promising to be there within 5 minutes, today he's the fastest growing security company in North America. And you're probably going to see their ads on online. Their ads say, "Are you paying enough for your security company?" Right? Because they positioned themselves as the first and the only. Clients benefit from that, and employees are proud to be a part of a company designed to make a huge difference. So when you're clear about your promise, and it's a promise that solves a top of mind problem or a promise that people want, you can charge a premium for what you do, and top talents are encouraged to play to win rather than play not to lose. Because you see, money loves clarity, money loves focus, and money loves accountability. Apple, right? Apple promises to always challenge the status quo, and they've created a cult-like culture that believes that once you go Mac, you never go back. Right? Early adopters love the Apple brand because it fuels their need for uniqueness. And employees are proud and feel fortunate to be working for a cool company that is challenging the status quo. Right? A company that makes life better, and that's strong positioning. Apple can charge anything for what they want, and millions of people will buy it. Uber, Airbnb, Amazon, Band-Aids, there are some of the major brands that created their own category to be the first. So what do you offer that is so tantalizing that it simply cannot be refused? And it's actually really hard sometimes to come up with those answers. Even this is what I do for a living, but I don't do this for myself. I ask other brand strategists to help me with this, because when you're in the frame, you can't really see the picture, and it's a lot harder for you to establish what could be a really great promise and what is just possibly expected. So again, if you have any questions regarding that, just jot them down. The third brand positioning ingredient is your X factor. That is pivotal. That is a tipping point for people to go, I did not know you. I went to, oh, this is interesting. Now an X factor is the tipping point to get people to go, oh, hell yes. I will want to work with you regardless of price. And that's basically what separates you from the pack. It's why people choose you over anyone else, regardless of what's happening in the world, right? The problem is, once again, very few organizations and teams clearly know what makes them truly unique and truly irresistible. And most importantly, not very many people know how to communicate that uniqueness in ways that resonate and influences. It's one thing to have a cool X factor. It's another thing to have your whole team be able to communicate it in a way that gets people to go, yeah, of course, where do I sign, right? And when you don't have a clear brand promise, your team's confidence goes down, your team's ability to get clients or sales gets affected. And whether your team is you, and you, same. There's no difference. If you're not clear, then 10 other people in your team are not going to be clear. And that's 10 times the problems, right? And what happens is you lose growth opportunities and you leave a lot of money on the table, millions of dollars in certain cases, right? So, and I want to say that innovations don't come from great ideas. They come from fixing problems, top of mind problems. And I want to give you an example of that. There's a shopping Tesco Home Plus. It's a grocer with a vision to grow their brand to a whole new level of influence and impact worldwide. But Tesco knew, and they wanted to grow in Korea. They knew that they had a massive problem with the Korean market because they know that Koreans work hard. They work long hours. They spend a lot of time in transit. And most importantly, Koreans hate grocery shopping. So they knew that in order to grow there, they would have to solve a time and a desire issue. Man, I mean, a desire issue is really tough to solve. That's really no small task for sure. So they started asking smart questions like, what if grocery shopping was fun? What if it was relaxing? What if it was cool? What if it was practical and easy? Wouldn't that be something awesome instead of, oh, I gotta go grocery shopping, right? What if grocery shopping was at your fingertips? Well, what you see here is not a real grocery store aisle. What you see is a subway station that the walls mimic a grocery store to allow people to shop while they wait for their train. And talk about creating a new normal of Uber convenience. Talk about positioning themselves as the first and the only. Right? No more big stores, of course, reducing their expenses and overheads by hundreds of millions of dollars, while massively increasing their sales. The result? They increased their profit by 300%, and they created a much happier culture. Now, this was before app time, but now there's apps, but I will tell you, they still know that having the products in front of people's minds, in front of people's eyes, while they wait is actually more efficient still than just having an app. So this was uber convenient before and is still uber convenient today. See, demand plus scarcity plus equals opportunity, right? When there's a demand and there's a scarcity there's huge opportunity. Same thing in the times of COVID. When there's a crisis and danger, that's also an opportunity, a time for opportunity. Another example, right in the neck of the woods of Burnaby, is a client of ours called Novaks Courier. We love these guys. They're absolutely amazing. They are the best delivery solution in the Vancouver Lower Mainland. And that's a fact. That's not just what I say. It's a fact. They're also the only delivery company that is carbon neutral and B Corp certified. They have more hybrids than vehicles than any other same-day courier company, which means that their emissions are 180 tons lower every single year. Now, how did they communicate that positioning before we came along? Well, they communicated that by saying, changing the way we deliver. But let me ask you, what does that truly mean to their client? Unless you know the whole story, nothing, right? What does that truly mean to their team? Well, unless you know the whole story and you have good verbiage to explain what that means, it means nothing. Why? Because it's a nice thing to say, but it has no tangible meaning unless, of course, you have a 100-page document that explains it all, right? So we've repositioned them as the safest, greenest, kindest same-day courier company. That positions them as the first, the best, and the only. That positions also lead their decision, right? They lead their decision by that, and it gives meaning to their daily actions. Now, that's what I call starting to play to win here rather than playing not to lose. And as a result of this positioning during COVID, they created an awesome retail delivery boost program. They basically help small retail stores that did not have an e-commerce, that people could call the store, order, and they would actually go and zip the products to their clients. So, but without strong positioning, you're not as creative. You're not creative like this to find solutions to top of mind problems. So, what makes you different, right? What is the thing that would get people to tip over to actually work with you and choose you? We can talk further about that in the Q&A. The fourth and last piece that I'm going to share today outside of, well, no, there's a couple of more pieces, but the fourth one is and it's non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable ingredient. It's called your interrupter. And the interrupter is an ingredient that helps you cut through the noise and truly grabs your ideal client's attention and ideal employee's attention as well. Basically, think of your interrupter as your room divider, right? It actually gets people to be magnetized to you or to repel from you. And that is good. Getting people to repel if you're not the right brand for them, that's good. You don't want people down the middle. The middle is really, really costly. And let me tell you why it's important to either magnetize people to you or repel people from you. There are 8 billion video views daily on Facebook from 550 million users. There's 100 billion Google searches a month. There's 70 billion blog posts published every month on WordPress alone, let alone, Weebly, Wix, Squarespace. There's 4 billion people on social media every single day. And there are millions of businesses with long runways. What I mean by that is they have a hell of a lot more money to invest in marketing or in recruiting every day than you do, which makes their runway much longer than yours, right? Meaning they can spend on advertising without making a buck back longer than you. That's what that means. And you can't beat them at that game. You can't outrun them on their own golden highway, but what you can do is take a trip on a different highway, right? What those stats are telling me is that there's a hell of a lot of people that are looking for solutions that you are the best at providing. There's a lot of people that are looking for a great organization to contribute to and work for and belong to. And that's why the dividing is very important, right? So you have to stand out. And talking about a great divider, this is an example. I used to live in Gastown. I'm now on Vancouver Island, but in Gastown, I used to pass a billboard that looked a little bit like this. And I did not know what it was, what it said, who it was for. And I got so tired of not knowing. I researched. And this billboard, this is not a real photo. It's a mimic of it, but it looked similar to that, except it was white. But anyways, this is what they did, this company did. The billboard said, if you can read this and you are humble, hungry, and smart, we want you. Now talk about a great interrupter and great qualifier at the same time. Only the people with that programming language skill, which was rare, only them could actually read that billboard. Awesome. So an effective interrupter is provocative. It is also very clear. It is succinct and it is relevant. When you have all these provocative, clear, succinct, and relevant, you have a winner. So to give you an example, our internal mission at LeapZone, which is how we want to leave people feeling, is on fire and unstoppable. This is why we do what we do. Our promise, which is our measurable accountability, we promise clarity, pivotal shifts, and momentum. And we do that and we deliver that come rain or shine. Our X factor, whoops, I went too fast. Our X factor at LeapZone is our LeapZone trifecta methodology, right? Is what we showed at the very beginning here. We are a branding, marketing, and coaching agency all under one roof, which means that when clients work with us, they get to work on all key areas for growth, right? So all of that is very clear, very simple. Our interrupter is be the first, the best, or the only, or die. That's pretty clear. That's pretty provocative. A doctor could tell me I'm wrong on that one, but a marketer would agree, right? So it's simple, it's clear, and everyone is on a mission to live this every single day in our organization. And that's what's important. So the goal is not for you to do business with everyone who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe in what you believe. Team members, clients, joint venture partners, suppliers. And some of you, I can guarantee that you are not working with people who believe in what you believe, and that is extremely frustrating, time-consuming, and costly. And the investment of time, money, and energy that you would invest in getting clear about all of this to make sure it is potent and a tipping point is a hell of a lot less than the money that you're leaving on the table every day by not having that. So I shared that I was going to share with you a positioning success formula, and it is this one. P plus PDS equals rockstar brand. And if you want your brand to create more impact and be loved by more people, then this is the thing to work on. So P stands for an authentic and differentiating promise, right? 5-minute response time in a sea of 2.5 hours. And the other one, PDS, means rock and promise. So basically, this whole promise delivery system is all around every contact made before, during, and after a sale, right? It's super important, whether you're a service or a product, whether you sell services or products, you're in the business of servicing people. And these processes go from pre-qualifying and qualifying and completion. And basically it's all around systematizing the predictable so that you can really shine on what you are a genius of. And the more you are set up to deliver on your promise at every avenue of your business, the better it is, because money loves clarity, money loves focus, and money loves structure. So just in closing, my point is this, when you're really clear about how you want to leave people feeling, when you're clear about what makes you the best, which is your promise, when you're clear about what makes you the only, which is your X factor, what makes people notice you, right, which is your interrupter, people choose you regardless of price. As I said, Mac can actually sell anything at any price and people will buy because they're positioned that way, right? So the key is to remember that those ingredients are absolutely important to you being able to charge more and you being able to be in front of more buyers that are not only willing, that are thrilled to work with you. So what I want to do is leave you with a couple of things here, a couple of resources. I said I was going to leave you with resources. One of them is our brand boost assessment. It's very simple, 5 simple questions that will help you inspect your brand and business scalability. Basically, you'll answer 5 questions and you'll rate yourself, and it'll give you on each symptom, and it'll give you a way for you to know what to tweak first so that you can actually start implementing some of what we've talked about today. You can get this for absolutely free at leapzonestrategies.com/brand-boost. And we also have on our website, in the Leap Tools menu, we have a bunch of tutorials that are simple, potent, to the point, uber practical around a lot of the subjects that we talked about today, and becoming a better influencer, mistruth about LinkedIn, priority versus enthusiasm. So there's lots of tutorials absolutely free at leapzonestrategies.com/leaptools. And those are fun as well, fun to go through and super practical. And if you want to connect with me live, then you can book an insight call to further this conversations so that we can uncover the number one positioning point of leverage to help you grow by, and you can do this, booking this meeting just by filling out our needs assessment at leapzonestrategies.com/rise. So I just would like quickly, I'd love to know a couple of gems or insights that you guys have had. If there are any questions, I'm happy to spend a few minutes answering questions here because this is important work and too many people think they already have this in place when they could actually make a hell of a lot more sales if those ingredients were potentified or tweaked. So do you guys see any insights, gems, takeaways, or questions in the chat?
I did see one. It's disappeared here, but I did see it from Sue earlier. I took a note of it. Was around coming up when the company is trying to come up with what's their value, what's their unique thing. What proportion of this is something that the company can do itself, and what level needs to be engaging the customers to have your actual customers telling you what your value is.
Yeah, the customers telling you what your value is helps you basically figure out what's the most important piece there. What's the language with which we want to communicate so that our clients understand, right? So it's a great idea to ask clients why they've chosen you. I did this the other day. Someone decided out of 5 bids, they decided to work with us. First question I asked, what made you choose us, right? And I collect these. Sometimes it's audio. They reply to me on audio or send me a voicemail or write it down. I collect those because those are key. They indicate what language we should use in order to promote the mission, the promise, the X factor, and all that. Right? Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So maybe for businesses looking to go down this space, make sure that they're finding a way of integrating customer feedback or engaging their customers on this. I think sometimes it's tempting to put your marketing team together to do something, or they're trying to look internally to come up with these answers. But you're saying it's important to make sure you're asking your customers why they've chosen you, what's resonating on their end.
And I'm not saying it's important to do it in a once in a while. I'm saying it's important to do that all the time. So don't need to make it an event, although sometimes you might need to make it an event. But most importantly, as we work with someone for a month or two, we have a survey that we ask them. So feedback, we request feedback all the time in our organization. So it doesn't have to be a big deal or an event,
No, fair enough. Looking at the attendees, and anyone feel free to type into the chat box here or the Q&As if you had any other questions or comments for Isabel. Looking at the people we have on the list today, there's a good mix of people who are kind of the business owners or the managers themselves, people who are maybe part of a marketing team. When you're looking at kind of repositioning can be a big undertaking for an organization, kind of reposition how they are in the marketplace. What, for those of them who aren't maybe the decision makers who are on the call, but maybe they're in marketing or they're part of a team, how do you propose they go up or go forward from here and get that buy-in from their managers, the business owners of making these decisions? Because I imagine positioning isn't something that it's not a marketing decision. It's a broader,
it's a brand strategy decision.
Yeah, it's a much broader piece.
Yeah, and everything stems from problems. So if repetitively, there's issues of people choose someone else instead of you repetitively, and you may or may not know why, it's a positioning issue. So, often what people do when I've spoken at social media camp and other places, people would have their marketing people, they would have their owner, or they would fill out our needs assessment just to even have an intelligent conversation that doesn't always just rely on them, because I can explain positioning and importance of that way better than they possibly could to their team, right? So, but yes, often when something isn't working or you're developing a new product or a new service, you need to look at positioning for this. It's super important. Otherwise, it may not sell,
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Well, I know we've shared a bunch of resources and content information in the chat function and with the slides, and we'll share some more things by email to everybody who's on the line today and who didn't make it in. I'll stop pedaling here. I've been trying to pedal to keep the power going for you, Isabel. So I can rest here. Whew. But I do want to thank you very much for taking the time to join us, to dial in here. As I said, we're very lucky to be able to kind of to zoom you in from wherever you are anywhere in the world. I know you're on the island today, but we appreciate you coming to Burnaby and being with us and our members. And I think there's a lot of important takeaways that people can hopefully start thinking about as we look to the next phase of the economy and the marketplace and what it's going to look like, making sure that our members and local businesses here can be positioned as strongly as they can to succeed in that. And I appreciate your help in helping our small business community to start making sure that that's on their radar, that they're looking in that space.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us. We'll appreciate you dialing in. And if you're watching this on the recording, we probably will have cut out all the bits about the power outage, so me pedaling won't make any sense to you anymore. But appreciate you watching, and make sure you tune in tomorrow for our networking breakfast and anything else that is coming up. You'll find it on bbot.ca. Appreciate all of you. Thanks so much. Take care.